Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. We've got the iPhone 17 Air and the iPhone 17 Pro Max in the studio today. I've been using these phones for the weekend, super excited for them. I have some opinions on them. I'm gonna make that a separate video, but a lot of you guys saw my case video and you wanted me to actually put the phones in these cases and give you a close-up look of them. So that's what we're here to do today. So going around our little circle here, we have the 17 Pro Max clear case. Clear in quotes because it's not actually clear, you guys. So we've got that one. We've got the iPhone Air bumper case in light blue. This is more of a gray to me, but to each his own. We've got the iPhone Air clear case in frost. So you can see it's not completely clear. It is frosted on the back and the sides. And then of course, we've got the TechWoven case in Sienna. Amazing color. Amazing case, honestly. I really love this case. And then we have the Crossbody Strap in Sienna as well, just to show you how well those two tie together. So let's get started with the Air. And the Air has been a really exciting phone, mainly because this is such a fun form factor to play with. It's so small. The buttons are practically at the edges of the phone, if you guys can see them there. But everything is so fast and responsive on this phone. It's incredibly light, very easy to hold on to. In fact, it's so small when you put it in a pocket, you have to check your pocket to make sure it's still there. It's insane. So putting it in the clear frosted case, and the best way I have found to put these on is to start with one side and then move on to the other, because I have seen a few of these clear cases snap, mainly around the power button or around the volume buttons, because this is an extremely thin case. It's less than 1 millimeter thick, I believe. So gotta be careful taking these cases on and off. We've got our sky blue iPhone Air in the frosted case. So it does nicely frost the back here. It's not extremely glossy, but the camera plateau is, because that is open. We've got a bit of protection that covers the entire camera, as you guys can see there. So no worries about setting it down on a surface. Buttons are nicely covered and are still very clicky. On both sides, we even have the camera control button there, and that functions perfectly as you would expect from a case made from Apple. Moving on to the bottom here. So we do have this part exposed. Fun fact, these are speakers, not microphones. The only speaker on the phone is in the earpiece itself, which is tucked in very high at the top of the phone there. So one speaker phone, that's all you get. And then on the bottom here on the sides, we've got our little cutouts for the crossbody strap, which I will show you guys in a second. So this is a very functional case. It's pretty sturdy. Again, it is very thin, as you guys can see there, compared to the back of the phone. So you do have to be a little bit careful with it. I'm not going to drop test it or anything like that, but at least it offers some good surface level protection for the iPhone Air. And then taking this case off, best way I've found is to start with the bottom, because that part is the most exposed. Then we move on to the upper part here by the camera plateau. And sometimes I will put my finger in the plateau to kind of help ease it out, because again, these cases are a little bit easy to snap.
I added my finger in the plateau to kind of help ease it out to the list.
Wonderful. Siri is added again, you guys. Smarter than ever. Thank you so much. All right, so again, that was the frosted case for the iPhone Air. There we have it. We'll go ahead and set that aside. Next one up here, I want to take a look at the bumper case. Now, this is a super popular case because Apple has not had a bumper case in quite a long time. Easiest way I found to put this one on is to start with one of the very thin edges. There we go. Safely put it in the side there, and then this side can kind of just stretch over the corners. And there we go, guys. Okay, so with this one, you get coverage around all the edges of the phone. So you can wave goodbye to all that shiny titanium if you're not a huge fan of it. And it gives the phone a much more toned down look, as you guys can see there. Now, it is important to note that this does not cover the camera plateau at all. So if you drop it like this, you could potentially not only break the camera, but the entire plateau, because as you guys can see there, it does rise beyond the bumper case. Not quite sure why they decided to do that, but it does leave the back completely open, so at least you get to touch the glass back of the phone, which is a very nice feel, of course. Buttons are extremely clicky, as you would expect. We've got full coverage there. There is the top of the phone, and here is the bottom. So again, we've got the little cutouts for the microphones on both sides, plenty of space for the USB-C port, and then on both sides, we do have our cutouts for the strap. So this is 2 cases for the iPhone Air that can use the strap. Not every iPhone case can use this. I'll get to that in a second. I've got some thoughts. Here you go, you guys. This is the light blue bumper case for the iPhone Air. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the most popular cases, and it does look very good with this sky blue, although I still think that this is a gray case, just my opinion. But there we have it, you guys. So I will go ahead and set that down there. Now let's talk about the 17 Pro Max. Now this is my personal phone, the Air is my wife's phone, and I love this color. I love it so much more than I thought I would. I was in the Apple store on launch day thinking, am I really getting an orange phone? Am I crazy? Am I not going to enjoy this in a few months? This is awesome. It's hard to capture the quality of this color. It's very bronzy in most lights. In some lights, it's a pale orange. Sometimes it's a very, very deep orange. All in all, I'm extremely happy with the phone. I love the color. If you guys want to see a little bit more about my impressions of this phone, go ahead and get subscribed because I will be doing that in a separate video here shortly. So let's talk about the biggest disappointment, and that is the clear case for the 17 Pro Max. And I'll go ahead and put this on and I will let you guys see why I am so disappointed. So again, it's easy just to do one side at one time and then put the corners in. There we go. Gives us a nice little animation because it's a first party case. Let me show you my issues with the case. I don't like how the color looks in it. That is a big part of it because the case has a very large white panel on the back of it. And I don't think that necessarily looks good with orange. If this was a black panel, it would look great because you've got black cameras, you've got the black sensor here, the screen is black, obviously. It would just look so much better if you could pick the color on the back here. But Apple went with white, not a huge fan of it. And while it is functional as a case, the sides are very, very rigid. There's not a lot of flexibility. And in my opinion, it takes away from the ergonomics of the new design of the 17 Pro Max, which is very, very comfy to hold. Unfortunately, this case is not. It makes it very, very square, as you guys can see there. I'm really not a big fan of that. It does function well. It's got the camera plateau nicely covered, so drop protection is good. The front screen, it's got a bumper all the way around. So however you drop the phone, you're going to be okay. Here's the big thing, you guys. Let's talk about the bottom of this. So we've got full cutout for our USB-C port, our speaker, our microphones in the bottom here. Are you noticing what's missing? Let me hold up our Frost case for the iPhone Air, and you can go ahead and tell me what's missing. Yeah, it is the cutouts for the crossbody strap. Apple was able to fit them in this extremely small case that is thinner, that has less area to work with overall, but they still managed to fit them right there. Now, can somebody tell me why Apple was not able to put in cutouts on here and here in the bottom of the case? And maybe make this corner a little bit larger to fit that in there. What was the design decision behind this? You gotta wonder. Now this is a definitely harder plastic than the one that they used on the Air. This is much more flexible, but I can't help but think they could have made the cutouts for the strap here if they wanted to. So let's go ahead and compare the 17 Pro Max case to the one I had for my 16 Pro Max. Now this one was from Spigen, and let's look at the bottom of the two of these together. So Spigen's version had all of the microphones and the speakers open, a nice big slot for the USB-C port, of course, and full coverage on either side. So Apple could have absolutely made the clear case look like this, and guess what? The cutouts for the crossbody strap could have gone right here on either side, would have been very structurally sound, very rigid, still offer good protection, but for whatever reason, Apple decided not to do that. And I have been racking my brain all weekend trying to figure out why Apple made this design decision. It is a huge L for this case. And for that reason, and the reason that I just don't like the white rectangle, I can't really recommend this case. If you want to show off the color of your new iPhone 17 Pro, obviously this is a good way to do it, but this case does come with some compromises. And again, it's not very comfy to hold on to. So take that for what you will. And then getting it off, I like to start with the bottom here. And I kind of use the camera plateau to help me just because it's so big. I'll start with the plateau, there we go. It is easy to take off and put on, I will say, but again, it is very, very rigid. It's very, very thick plastic, so not extremely comfortable. Now, my favorite case, you guys, is the TechWoven case. I love this a lot more than I thought I would, and let me show you why. There we go. There's a nice animation, and this case is so comfortable. This is something that really needs to be felt in store in order to experience, but it's got a nice rounded back, which is very comfy to hold, matches the ergonomics of the 17 Pro very, very well. The sides are a nice, I don't even know how to describe this material. It's very grippy. It is textured. The buttons are gorgeous. I love the two-tone look of the buttons. Back of the case is very soft. So far, it has held up to scratching, my pockets, my jeans, everything like that over the past couple days. So durability of this versus the fine woven case from a couple of years ago, night and day difference in my opinion. We've got the nice big cutout for the camera plateau, and it is hard plastic around the edges, as you guys can see in here, and it perfectly cuts out so you can set your table on any surface, front or back, not have to worry about scratches or drops or anything like that. On the bottom here, we've got our cutouts for USB-C, microphones and speakers, and hey, wouldn't you know it, the strap actually fits in this case. Wow. So there we go. It looks phenomenal in this case. I'm typically a guy that rocks phones, no case at all, but this case is changing my mind because it's just so nice to hold on to. This material is fantastic. It's very satisfying to hold on to. I don't know how to describe it. It's got great cutouts. The buttons are very, very clicky and responsive. Camera control works very well, of course. Yeah, I'm just in love with this case. Probably the best case I've ever used. Apple absolutely hit it out of the park with the TechWoven. Yeah, so TechWoven in Sienna, and then we've got our strap down here as well. I haven't used the strap too much. I'm not really sure if I like this as an accessory, to be honest, but I did want to buy it so you guys could see it. And one funny thing about this case that I will touch on in my initial impressions of both phones, if I can get these off here. Let me show you one of my other little complaints here. I'll give you guys a sneak peek. Let's say we're done with our strap for the day. That's fine. We just want to carry the phone around like this. You're just gonna have these dangling around all day. Unless you take the phone out of the case, undo these little loops, put the case back on the phone, and then you can use it perfectly fine without the little loops for the crossbody strap. I can totally see a lot of people just having their phone around like this because they can't be bothered to go through all those steps to take off the little loops for the strap. So that's another thing I will talk about in my initial weekend impressions of this phone, because it is something that you will need to live with and think about, as minor as it might be. So there we have it, you guys. The iPhone Air 17 Pro Max in two of my favorite cases. What do you guys think of the case offerings this year from Apple? Did Apple completely cook? Are you disappointed with the cases? Let me know in the comments. And I want to hear, did you get an iPhone 17 on launch day? Which one did you pick up? Which color? Which storage size? I want to talk about it. But anyways, you guys, I'm Dan. I do tech every day. I appreciate you guys so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more iPhone 17 content coming out very soon. I've said too much. Have a good night. Peace.